All right, good evening everybody. Hi, it's Tara Beth. We're going to get started here in just a minute on today's card. Let me see if I've got everything going just right. Hold on a second. All right, perfect. Here we go. Let's see. Maybe, maybe not. Let's just do this. I'll get it here in a minute, guys. There we go. Now I'm on there. Okay, there we go. Awesome. All right, so I kind of went a little overboard this week. Hopefully I didn't go too overboard, but I found this card on Facebook. I can't remember exactly who I saw it from. I'll have to look at that and put it in my blog. So you'll find all the directions with step-by-step instructions as well as the dimensions on all the paper. But this is just a thank you card using the Eden Gardens collection, and it pops up and it'll sit there like this, as well as flips open for more sentiments. So we're going to get started. Hopefully I can get this done. All right, so first thing we're going to do is just do some simple adhering. So I'm using Stampin' Up's gold foil. Hey Amy, thanks for coming by. How are you? Hey Karen, your card was great. Thanks for sharing today. All right, so we're using the gold foil along with the Eden Gardens DSP, and we're just gonna adhere this. Ooh, I want that side to be up. So liquid adhesive on that gold foil. We're going to make sure that we line it up. There we go. Then we'll do a little bit of this DSP. And then a third panel. So here we go. All right, now we can set these aside and start working on the mechanism. Well, we'll do go ahead and do the card front. So this is just another piece that's measured, I think, 4 by 5 1/4, and then the foil is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And as I said, those measurements will all be on my blog tomorrow. All right, so that's going to be our card front. Now we're going to do the mechanism. So I have a, first we're going to score. And we are going to take this piece and score it. So this is 2.5 by 8 1/4, and we're going to score it at 4 1/2 with my Simply Score tool, and 5. So that's all the scoring you're going to do on this card, other than folding the card in half. So we'll set this aside. Ah, Karen, I love this DSP too. It's one of my favorites. I'm sad to see that it didn't hang out for the catalog. So I'm gonna create 2 mountains. So you can see that's just folding it like that. We're gonna take this topper punch. Oh, I think I cut that. I need to trim that down to 2. All right. Punch the end off. And so then you have this sort of mechanism. So, get that
And then while we're at it, we'll go ahead and punch. This is a smaller piece of cardstock. It's 1.5 by 3.5, and we're just gonna punch it exactly so that it falls in line. I'm gonna kind of make sure I get it as even on each side as I can, so that punch will be in the center. And then we will add to the side. So we're going to use that here. Yeah. Yep, that's how we're going to do that. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little bit of the stamping. I used several different stamp sets. So I used the Eden Gardens, but mainly all I used was just this flower, and that's mainly just on the envelope. I used Artistically Inked for the flowers, and I've already stamped those, and then the sentiment that's pretty large, and then this awesome new Celebration Special Moments. I love this stamp set because it has a ton of sentiments, which is something that I'm always looking for. So let's go ahead, do a little Stampin' and a glue in and all that jazz. So I've got my thanks punch from Artistically Inked that I'm going to ink up with some Evening Evergreen. Make sure that gets inked up pretty good. And then get it towards the end and as straight as possible. And then I'm going to take one of the banner punches and punch that in on the end. There we go. I'm going to set that out of the way so I don't get that all inky. And then we'll go ahead and stamp the sentiment that we're going to use on the flap that moves up with the same ink. And we're going to stamp it right on the DSP. Now the nice thing about this is if you mess up, you can always stamp it again on basic white and cover it up. All right, that works. So I have pre-cut out some of the Evening Evergreen cotton paper. So this is like a tissue paper almost. And so because it's kind of like a tissue paper, you can't really use liquid adhesive with it. You can, it just doesn't work out well for you. So I'm going to roll some of my glue dots in half and just place it in sporadically along this die cut so that it will adhere to the card base. So you want to look for places where you can not have it sticking off and there's half of that glue dot will work. All right, so just about 4 of them is enough to hold it on. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to flip this over and try not to tear it. All right, line it up. I'm going to pull that down hopefully. See, it's pretty flimsy stuff, but it gives a different dimension than some of our other card stocks. So there we go. All right, we'll put that aside. And then we will do our front, which was this piece. And I'm going to add the sentiment on with a few Stampin' Dimensionals. Set that on there. And so line it up so that it's
towards the end, but not overhanging. And then I stamped some of the flowers from the Artistically Inked in Polish Pink. And before I put them on, I'm gonna go ahead and put a dollop of liquid glue right over where I would want that to be. That way, I've got a couple of leaves that I made with that matching die set. I'm gonna go ahead and glue them down. Normally I feed them under, but because of the substance of paper that I'm using, I'm going to go ahead and adhere them and then work the flower over the top. All right. So let's do one more kind of, we're going to trim a little bit of that away. It should be new glue. I shouldn't have to be squeezing so hard. All right. There we go. So see, you can go ahead and use liquid adhesive. You just want to be careful. It just kind of makes it really flimsy. We'll take another Stampin' Dimensional and stick it just on one side of that flower and twirl it around and decide where we're going to put it. There we go. All right, so there's your front. All right, so we've got the inside bottom and the front here ready. Now all we have to do is get the inside as well, the top flap. And so you can see here, I've got flowers, but part of it is covered up, but I think that's fine. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the liquid adhesive. Just kind of use a little dollop there. I'm going to use the soft succulent leaves because it's up against that evening evergreen paper. I got a little bent. Oh, we got more than enough. We'll use this, some of the other ones. There we go. And then, because that's going to go on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and use liquid adhesive on that. And then put it up a little bit higher. All right, so here's our pieces that are going to get adhered to the mechanism. So let me try to remember. Okay. So on the mechanism, did I do that right? I'm going to just punch that other side because I think I did that wrong. I don't think it'll matter which one we've got. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, that's what we want to do. So you want the mechanism on the long side, and then you're going to adhere this right down because it's going to use a belly band to slide back and forth. So here goes nothing. Hopefully I did this right. One would have thought that I would have made more than one of these to try it before going all out. All right, so there's that. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue these together. And so after I did these, I thought it might be better not to use the foil and to just use cardstock that's the same color, because then you're not going to have possible white borders. But I've been real careful to make sure that they are all the same size, so we won't have that. All right, so we'll put that down there, and then we are going to glue this bottom one, or the one that we're going to use on the back, just a small strip of glue, and line it up right up to the score line. And you'll want to make sure that you've got about the same overhang on each side. So I'm just going to squeeze that down. And then we're going to put another little bit of liquid adhesive and line this up to the top, and then make sure that you line it up on each side. All right. So, then, ooh, getting a little glue there. All right. Oh, I don't have my belly band. So we're just going to create, I could use that, just a 1-inch piece for a belly band. And we're going to feed it under the bottom, and then it's going to go over this piece that we adhered on, so it's going underneath both pieces as well as the flat back. And I'm going to use tear tape for this belly band because I feel like it'll hold a little bit better. Okay, so we're just gonna fold it, and you don't want to fold it super tight, but yeah, ooh. There we go. And I've had a problem with my tear tape today. There we go. All right, and then fold in. And it doesn't have to be perfect because this part is covered up. So what happens, hopefully it works, is as you flip it, that belly band goes up a little bit, which causes that card to stay. Okay? All right. That got a little crooked while I was messing with that belly band. Slide. Come on. All right. Now, we'll take the front piece, and we're just going to adhere the belly band to the card base. So it takes a little bit of glue there. And then just press down so that it'll stay. I'm going to take a glue dot and adhere. Hey Rosie, thanks for popping by. I'm going to take a glue dot and put it on my bottom for this bow that I have made, because I'm not making a bow online. That would be craziness. All right, so there is the card. Pop it up, and then it'll sit. All right, we will fold the card base in half, burnish it, and take that liquid adhesive. So this is kind of like one of those waterfall cards. I did one of those on Thursday for the blog hop. And I haven't made one of those in years, and I had so much fun that I kind of did some research trying to find something else that was along that line. And this was the closest thing I could come up with. You kind of need to let it sit for a little while because that liquid adhesive is we need it to kind of cure. All right, so for the inside, I did the flowers with the Evening Evergreen ink. Just in 2 corners. Go. There we go. We've got another sentiment that we're going to use from that Special Moments awesome freebie put that right in the center. Line that up, hopefully. There we go. We're going to adhere this to the inside of the card, and then we will step it off to the envelope and be finished. Alright, here we go. Alright, so there we go. Pop up. Now for our card base, or our envelope, we're just going to put the flower on the corner, if I can find what I did with it. There it is. Alright. I had some DSP, but I'm not really sure what I did with it. So we'll just call that good for the card. And there we go. A new fun fold that I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for popping by. You can check out my blog tomorrow at tarabethstamps.blogspot.com for complete directions and card dimensions. And thanks for joining me.